You got it in?
Mm-hmm.
You ready to go? Thank you for coming. My name is Michael Brown, and I'm Communications Director for the Roman Catholic Diocese of Boise. Speaking to you shortly will be Bishop Michael P. Driscoll, Bishop of the Roman Catholic Diocese of Boise, Idaho, about the resignation of Pope Benedict XVI, which was announced today in Rome effective February 28th.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for coming. I think like probably most Catholics, matter of fact, I'm sure all Catholics in the world today woke up to the very surprising news that the Pope has decided to resign from his office as the head of the Catholic Church. Since it's been over 600 years since that last happened, it was not something that any of us were really thinking that was going to happen. And so when I say I was surprised, I truly mean surprised, and I can almost say shocked, that he would resign. But you know, he's been a hard worker. He's been a very talented worker, and he's been a good leader of our church. He himself would only know what it means to be Pope and what his duties are as Pope. And so he was the only one that could make this kind of a decision for himself and for the church and for the world. And I'm sure that he would make it under the auspices of, can I continue to serve like I want to serve? Or is my health such now that it's very, very difficult to do that? So he has made that decision, and so all of us now are praying for him, and we're praying for the world, and we're praying for the cardinals that will come together to select the new pope after his resignation becomes effective, which is the 28th of February. So until then, he will continue to be our pope. But after that date, then we will have a period in which we have no leader, we have no pope. The cardinals will all come together and they will start to administer the church then, just like they do when the pope passes away. His Holiness, Pope Benedict, has been a great writer. He's been a great leader. He's very spiritual. And it takes a lot of humility to step down from his role because they're, you know, as such, you know, and with his agenda, I'm sure, which was always to be a holy and good leader for the church, you know, to step down from that takes humility, takes courage, and a real openness to the Holy Spirit to say, I place my hands completely and totally in the hands of the Holy Spirit, and let the Holy Spirit really be there for the church. So it's kind of hard. I woke up this morning and heard the news on the radio, and that really shocked me. You know, so I know about as much about it as you do in that sense, because I'm not part of that system where they would ask my opinion, or should he do it or should he not do it. He didn't ask me, and had he asked me, I don't know what I would have said. Except to say, Your Holiness, the decision is yours, really. You know, and so I'm sure he spent a lot of time in prayer and in sermons. So are there any questions that you want to ask at this point of time?
You mentioned that the church will not have a leader during the time as they start choosing. Who or how does that work at that point? Is there a committee that helps run the church, or how does that work?
Well, they get, the cardinals of the world get together, and they will be coming together in Rome, and they will be the ones to make those decisions. So the cardinals who will be eventually electing a new pope will also be getting together to determine what the business of the church during that time.
Bishop, what difference does this make in the day-to-day life of Treasure Valley Catholics?
In the day-to-day life of Treasure Valley Catholics, they would just continue to be the Catholics that they are at the present time, and be faithful members of the church, attending religious services, praying, especially as we're entering the season of Lent, to be fasting and prayer, and looking at within themselves, and doing, asking, and they'll be speaking to their priests and their religious leaders in their parishes, looking for directions there, and we'll be praying ourselves and probably through our own communication, like the Idaho Catholic Register, putting out some ideas that maybe that they will want to look at for this Lent as to how they pray and ask the Holy Spirit for guidance for our church.
Could you talk a little bit about him? I mean, how long was he the Pope, and what he kind of did?
Well, I think you know what he did, and he was Pope since what was it?
2005.
8 years. He was our Pope for 8 years, and besides the work that he did in the Vatican, he also traveled, and he went to various countries, and he was promoting the church. He was reaching out to other religious communities. He was trying to heal the schism that had come about a number of years ago with the St. Pius X Society. He was trying to help heal that schism, which is still going on, but he was trying. That was one of his real desires, and because he knew that was causing harm in the church. He was very prayerful. He was still writing. He wrote some beautiful letters to the church called encyclicals on charity, and on how we should live our lives. He was still an inspiration in many, many ways that way, and still is an inspiration that way.
You met him, did you, more than once, or?
I met him as Pope some months ago when I was there in Rome for the what is called the ad limina visits of the bishops to Rome, and to visit with the Holy Father and give a report on the diocese. I met him then, and I had met him before a few times when he was still the head of the Congregation of Divine Worship. No, I mean the Doctrine of the Faith. When he was the head of that, I had met him a few times. But then as Pope, I met him that one time.
Did you and he have some sort of a friendship that went beyond just having met and shook hands and?
No, not really. There's too many bishops. And it's a treasured moment when you can have any kind of moment with the Holy Father. And it doesn't happen to everybody, and it doesn't happen all the time you know, there are certain bishops that will meet with him more often, but then they have, let's see, better positions in the world and because of their jobs and so forth. You know, it's amazing what the Holy Father can do even in just that, because you feel really insignificant compared to what he's doing and what his job is. And I can recall thinking that I'm glad he gives us this time, but it's amazing that he's able to.
You mentioned that largely folks that attend their parish are not going to see much of a change in the way day-to-day operations will be?
The day-to-day operations,
Yeah, or,
it won't change, no. No, we all know what we were supposed to be doing now, and we'll continue doing it until we hear differently. And they would hear, I guess they would hear differently through me, but also you know, and we wouldn't hear until there's a new Holy Father, if he wants to make some real drastic changes, which I don't think is gonna happen necessarily.
excuse my ignorance on the subject, but considering how rare this type of event is, did it come as a shock to you? Does it change the transition at all for you?
No, but it did come as a shock to me, because the last time a pope resigned was 600 years ago, so it wasn't something that when I went to bed last night, I was thinking it was gonna happen in the morning. I can say that with all honesty, yeah.
If there aren't any more questions, we have a couple of the leaders from the Diocesan Pastoral Center here available for any questions you might have on their perspectives as well. Is that all for now? Everybody all set? All right, thank you, Bishop. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for coming.
All right, we've got Landis Rossi in the, oh, sure, the lady over there.
I'm thinking like, it's just good to see you.
And do you have the question? We have Landis Rossi, who is the lady in the blue dress.
Thank you so much.
You've got Deacon Richard Cullett. He is in charge of our lay and deacon ministry formations. He's the gentleman there. Chuck, are you available?
Yes.
Okay, Chuck Lawrence is the diocesan financial officer. So if you have any questions about how this might impact local Catholics, you're welcome to spend some time with them. Okay? Sure.
How many?
About 160,000.
I know, I didn't know.
That's been going on a number of years.
I don't know if anybody else has any questions there?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Conservative Catholics.
It's nice to meet you. I'm with Channel
Just
6.
with their interpretations of Vatican II, they don't now Vatican II being legitimate ecumenical.
This is.
Exactly, and that right now they're out of unity with the church, and Pope Benedict has taken very generous steps to move forward and try to get come back. Exactly, and they haven't developed such unity yet, but it was something that Pope Benedict had as a priority.
So we can really say we identify these people who did not recognize the changes
Yeah, so
That's-
you will have
Yeah,
met,
I
or
think
you
there were
will have
some
been
that there were
elected.
specific parts of that,
Or
but
those
they're
are the ones you've met.
schismatics. They're not in union with the church.
Oh, wow.
So that's the best way of describing it. So if you want to.
Yeah, I'm going to, but I want to get that through.
Thank you. Yep,
Thank you very much. I did just want to make sure, when you talk about it,
I will drop that.
Very little which you have.
Yeah,
No problem.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you, Joe.
And the fact that the church is the church.
Worked hard to stay together.
That's what I said, best laid plans.
Would you mind talking with me for just a few moments?